Okay, I am going to film the quiz, so this is the quiz that you have to correct. I'm going to go ahead and go through the corrections. The first two questions I'm going to do in red, okay, because this was the area of polygons. In fact, what I may do is I may just do multiple colors and just film each chunk so you know exactly what you got graded on. All right, so the first one we're going to do is we're going to do areas of polygons. So we're going to look at the area of a regular polygon. Now, a regular polygon, if you remember, I'm going to come down here and write it here. A regular polygon is a polygon with all congruent sides and all congruent angles. So if it's regular, that means all the sides are congruent as well as all the angles. So when I look at this particular question here, I have a regular hexagon. Okay? I have a regular hexagon. Now, the original question, you had been given 20 here and found the perimeter, and you were able to do it. I'm going to do it with the 20, and I'm going to do it with the correct side figured out from the apothem. Now, the formula for a regular polygon is the area is 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter of the polygon itself. So let's look at the polygon itself. Let's start off with the 20. So Mr. Draper had given you 20. That means that since this is a regular polygon, all sides measure 20. So if I want to find capital P is the perimeter of my polygon. If I want to find capital P is going to be 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20. So capital P is going to be 6 times 20, which is 120. So my capital P is 120. Now let's find the apothem. Well, in this particular example, the apothem was given to you. This is the apothem, okay? And remember what an apothem is. The apothem is the distance from the center to a side at 90 degrees, okay? It's the distance from the center of the polygon to a side, any given side, at 90 degrees. My apothem is already given to me. My apothem is 8 square root of 3. So now if I want to find the area of my polygon, it's going to be, the area is going to be 1/2 my apothem, which is 8 square roots of 3, times my perimeter, which is 120. When you multiply those together, you get 480 times the square root of 3. That is if you write it in radical form. If you want to write it in decimal form, let me find the square root symbol here. It is 831.4. And that is going to be inches squared. Inches squared. Now that's if you used the 20 that Mr. Draper had provided you. Now, if you don't use the 20, there were two ways to solve this, and I'm going to do this in pencil so you can see it a little bit better. Technically, this 20 is not correct. If I use my apothem here, this apothem right here is 8 square root of 3, and I'm going to take another paper here, and I'm going to redraw this picture. So I have a picture that looks like this because I'm so good at drawing pictures. Thank you. I know my artwork is exceptional. So we have this. We have the apothem is 8 square root of 3. So the question is now, what do I do with this? If I know the apothem is 8 square root of 3, then what else can I do besides the fact that my pencil just broke, which is awesome. So since my pencil just broke and my other ones got taken, I'm going to use the pen again. We established that these are all the same because it's a regular polygon, right? I'm still working on number 1. But that is not, that 20 that Mr. Draper had was not correct if you actually worked it out the other way. He was trying to make it easier for you. We didn't want you to have to do large calculations. So what you would do is you would take this right triangle out. Your apothem is 8 square root of 3. And what are the angles? Well, since this is a regular hexagon, I know that all the angles inside are the same. So I'm going to do n minus 2 times 180 to tell me the total for all the interior angles, and then I'm going to divide it by n, which is 6, to tell me what each angle measures. So you get 720 divided by 6. So each interior angle is 120. These are all 120s, okay? Including this one. Now what does that mean? Well, that means that that angle is cut in half by this, which is your radius. So that means that that angle right there is a 60. If that is a 60, that one is a 30, and you've got a 30, 60, 90 triangle. Because it's 30, 60, 90, since that's 8 square root of 3, that means this would be 8, and this would be 16. But we don't need the 16. So if this piece right here is 8, the other half would be 8, so the entire thing would be 16. So now that gives you the correct dimensions, which all sides are 16. Again, you have to use 30, 60, 90. 30, 60, 90 is imperative. When you have a 30, 60, 90 triangle, and that would be a 60, I just can't draw. Whatever the side across from the 30 is, the one across from the 60 is that times the square root of 3, and the hypotenuse is double. Since the side across from the 60 is 8 square root of 3, that means the bottom side is 8, which is half of the side. So when we double it, we get 16. So I would do 1/2 now times my apothem, which is 8 square root of 3, times my perimeter, which if the sides are 16 is 96. And so that in turn would give me 384 square root of 3 inches squared. Or if I wanted to actually do that as a radical, it would be 665.1 inches squared. So you had to use 30, 60, 90s on these. And that's how you did the first one. Now the second one is a square. It is also a regular polygon. A square is a regular polygon. So we can use 1/2 AP, but there's actually a bit of a shortcut on this one. So it's a square, it's regular. What does regular mean again? Regular means all sides and angles are congruent. So that means that all 4 sides are congruent. So whatever I get for one side, the rest of them are the same. Now, in a square, I don't know the apothem. The apothem, and I'll mark it in green, is right here. And the question is going to be, do I actually need the apothem? But we'll see. So I'm going to look at this and wonder where my blue marker is. There it is, yay. So in a square, when you have something drawn to the corner, it creates a 45, 45, 90, because what are all the angles in a square? They're all 90s, right? So that means that this is a 45 and a 45. So that creates a 45, 45, 90 triangle. Now, since the hypotenuse is 10 square roots of 2, remember that means that the sides are 10. That's the rules for a 45, 45, 90. So that means this piece right here is 10. But that's not the whole side. That also means the apothem is 10 if you want to use the apothem. That means that this whole side here is 20. So if the whole side is 20 and it's a square, what are all the sides? They're all 20s. So there's 2 routes you can go here. I can either find the area of the square the old-fashioned way and do the rectangle base times height, which would be 20 times 20, which would be 400. Whoops, sorry. That would be 400. And that would be meters squared. Or I can use the regular polygon formula. 1/2 the apothem. What is your apothem? It's 10. And what would be the perimeter of the square? 20 plus 20 plus 20 plus 20, 80. And look at that. It gives you the same thing. Both the same. So that's how we do the area of regular polygons. You have to be able to find the apothem, which is the distance from the center to the side at 90 degrees. Center to side at 90. And then the perimeter of the polygon itself, so you can apply 1/2 the apothem times the perimeter. Or if it's something like a square or rectangle, you can apply the regular formula.